Hey guys, I have Matt Wagner here with me. Well, it's not totally here because we coveting. He's at the pool in his new place, and I'm here. We actually, I would say, maybe 2 miles away from each other.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, Hollywood is pretty small, and I'm wearing my cowboy hat today because when Matt and I met, it was during MJB's Con. You
That's right.
probably know, but if you don't know, it's the biggest cannabis event uh, in the world, actually. And at the same time, the rodeo was in Vegas. So the biggest rodeo and the biggest cannabis events are at the
At one
same
time.
time in the same place, totally different target markets. And, you know, I work with cannabis people, but I ride horses. So, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm a country guy. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. I want to say that you're one of the biggest industry disruptors when it comes to how you can actually change industry through social media and users.
Yeah. Dina, first of all, thank you very much. I watch all these, by the way, and every now and then I've shared them, when they really strike home.
Thank
Uh,
you.
I love what you're doing. I love your voice in the industry. And, for myself, uh, yeah, I just have a passion for the plant. Yeah, I have a passion for the plant. I have a passion for the healing power of the plant. The way this changed people's lives is undeniable. There's no reason to even highlight or talk about anything like that. So everyone knows it. If you don't know, use Google, Google something. At the end of the day, we talk about the injustices and all this stuff. The ultimate equalizer has been social media.
Yeah.
And more importantly, user-generated content. So these are the checks and balances. It's like the people stood up and said, you know what, if you guys are going to regulate it right, we're going to regulate it right. We're going to expose the fakes. We're going to expose the people putting, the vitamin E acetates, the poisons, the pesticides, and all this stuff. And now the people have a voice, and that voice is social media. So
And
that's really been a big disruption. Yeah.
every industry need to learn from that and can learn from that. And just for those who don't really understand what's user generated content and what exactly does it mean, think that just like when someone posts a selfie, more than that, it's not a selfie, it's a video of something wrong happening. For instance, how legitimate businesses treat their workers, how they fuck up their retailers, wholesalers, buyers, customers. And all of that is not because some media, news, journalist went and did an expose. It's because some worker said, God damn it, I don't believe that that's where I work. I'm going to show the world. So they just,
And they do.
and they do. And we saw some changes with retailers and businesses that happened just because you guys posted user generated content that just put the spotlight on some shitty stuff that now has changed.
Well, yeah, and it's it's not just it's really just it's a huge movement. I can tell you, for me personally, I'm watching the news, and you know what? Sorry, I don't watch the news, and I don't know anyone that does. And we've lost faith in our media sources. We know that the conspiracy theorists weren't conspiracy theorists. The media is actually owned by 6 corporations. Blah blah blah. People don't really know what's going on. The only way, like say you're an employee and you're sitting there in a grow in say Florida, and which is a high propensity for mold and other issues, because this is in Northern Cali, and this guy is filming the shortcomings of this corporation that has refused to make the changes that it needs to make to provide the proper product, the clean medicine it needs to provide. And they've refused to do that. And you know what? If you've worked in a corporation, you know as well as I know, you're really kind of powerless at a certain level. And so all of a sudden, a video of these spider mites and mold and everything comes out of here, and they can deny it, but then more are coming out, and now it becomes a power struggle between the consumer, really the consumer that's represented within their business, because these guys that are growing, that are involved in these businesses on the inside, they are consumers. They don't want to see their grandma smoking spider mites or mold or issues like that. So because of social media, because of what we've seen really as a movement of just people taking, capturing those moments that, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you couldn't. It was impossible, to get that kind of footage or information.
We are now living in the first time where the consumer has more power than the corporation. And, I've done marketing for more than 20 years. So I remember the cynical days, when I did PR and all that. We knew that we have more power than the consumer, and we used regular media, and we could navigate the information and control the information. But these days you can't.
In regards to the longevity of the impact of bad PR is like boom. And that is where I think, like for me, because I don't have 20 years of PR experience, and that's why I was so curious to hear what you had to say on that. But for me, the idea that that consumer he might be a guy that buys your product maybe once every 6 months. He's not even someone that you're staking your claim on, and you want to ignore his issues. And that is today in this society, that's where you're committing suicide. And you see that so often with companies that aren't addressing people's issues and problems with their product or whatever the case would be, especially in the cannabis industry, because mistakes will happen. They are going to happen, especially if you're producing 40,000 joints a month. Mistakes happen. Now it's how you respond to those mistakes. That is the new PR.
Yeah.
The new PR is how am I going to respond? Because problems will happen. There's always going to be unhappy people. And guess what? Those unhappy people, they have a voice now. They never had a voice, but now they have a voice. So now you have to respond. So the moment you say, yeah, fuck you, we don't want to hear what you have to say, or you're the only problem we have. We have one complaint out of 10 million people, so fuck you. You know what? Those 10 million people are like, whoa, that's how they handle mistakes?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. I love it because, and you bring something that so many don't understand, is the attention to details. And one consumer is huge detail. First of all, acknowledge the problem. If someone has a problem and he says, blah, 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 sucks, dude, first of all, I'm sorry that you're disappointed. I totally understand it. Just show that you can understand, because you can understand,
Yes.
You fucked up, or someone
Look
thinks
from
that
their
you
eyes.
fucked up. Look them in the eyes. Exactly. Tell them, you know what, dude? First of all, I'm sorry. How can I make it up for you? And, tell me what's the problem.
And you know what? It's not so much about that troll. It's about everyone watching that troll. So out of those 1,000 people, they might have got a notification that says someone commented. They all go to it and they see this guy has a problem. Now they come on the top and lay another notification. Guess what? Everyone gets that notification. Yeah. So they all go back to read it. They had no vested, they were not invested in this complaint at all. But the moment that brand comes in and refutes it and wants to pick a fight, or anything even, like people understand tones too when they read something, anything related to that, it's drama. Oh yeah, what's going on? And they're gonna watch how does he respond, and they relate to it now. They're like, what if I would? They don't relate to the owner. They don't relate to the brand. They relate a lot of times, like the unsaid, the silent majority. They're relating to the customer because they're a customer too.
The world has changed. Society has changed. Nobody gives a fuck about your fucking product. People,
Right.
people give a
They're
fuck about
buying you.
themselves.
They're buying the connection with the brand because it's me. It's all about me, me, me.
Me,
You know?
me. What is it for me? Why should I buy? Why should I support? If you give me the reason to buy and support and you
Right.
show me that you care, I will be with you all day till the end of days.
Because you become part of me and a part of what I am.
The cannabis industry is so saturated that it's obvious, just because that's how business work, that not everyone will win. Okay, there will be just a few that will be like top of the line, huge brands that CVS will buy and Procter and Gamble will buy, and all that, mergers and acquisitions. And then there will be the second tier and the third tier, but tons will just, they won't be with us in 5 years. And when you have this saturation and you try to market, you have to focus on the emotion and the connection with that guy, with that girl.
In my experience with brands, it has to be something that you really take. If you're the person that's running this business and I'm helping you formulate your projection to the world, you know, I'm not going to be here for 20 years, you know, like you need to figure out what that is for yourself personally. What is going to drive you for 20 years, or what's going to drive your business for, you know, what's your strategy? Are we talking about are we building something that we're going to sell out in the next 3 years, or building something that you're going to hold on and pass on to your child? Those are two different things. You know, I have my own personal opinions about brands, what I like, what I think is going to sell to me, but I don't encompass the market.
I think I really like the fact that you touched on two things that are super important. First is know your exit. What's your plan? I mean, do you want to have this business and brand for the next 20 years, or you just want to sell and exit in 2 or 3 years? That's really important. You know, from the get-go, what's your exit? So you'll know where you're going. So you can build a strategy and tactics to this goal. And the second thing is the why. Why do you do that? Why would you wake up 20 years from now to go and do your business? And it's something that this question of why do you do that? Let's find this brand story. It's something that I do with all my clients, all industries. And once I find it, I try to use it wherever I can with the clients, because that's everything. That's the essence of the brand, of why you wake up in the morning, why you do what you do. And people need to know that. So you can use it on social media, you can use it on your automated emails, you can use it in interviews. This can be what directs every aspect of your branding and marketing.
You are inspiring me right now. I'm not gonna lie, like having this discussion with you, like I'm having a hard time in some instances being focused, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like so keep going, you know. Thank you very much. If I can add one more thing, like that I thought about, and we have to go into is transparency. Like, I really think we talked about the power of social media. Like, we don't live in an age where you can just hide all your mistakes and pretend like remember the old laws of power, you know, never admit a mistake, never admit. That's the old way. We have taken a turn. It's time for us to realize this, these brands and these guys with these egos, to realize that we live in an age that people respect transparency. When you make a mistake and you admit it, you know, that's who they're elevating. That's the new way.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that's something else that's
awesome. It's super important. I mean, times have changed, guys, you know.
They have.
I think that's actually a great segue to an awesome, very inspirational finish for our amazing talk, dude.
For sure.
Thank you for your time, Ed, and have an awesome weekend.